It's started. All right. Hey, everyone. Okay, so we're going to talk about Wonder Woman, and I'm here with the awesome Chris from Cinema Savvy.
Thank you very much for that awesome intro. Yeah, so yesterday we did two videos. Well, we did a video together on spoiler free. I also did a spoiler discussion on my channel. So yesterday I was completely Wonder Woman'd out, but I just got done watching The Flashpoint Paradox, which had a lot of awesome Wonder Woman scenes in there at your recommendation. So I'm back to talk more DC and Wonder Woman again right now.
Oh my gosh, we need to do a video on Flashpoint.
We do. It's so cool.
I love that movie. Okay. Yeah, just in case you don't see the title, there's going to be spoilers. Yeah. Okay, so if you haven't seen the movie, why haven't you seen it? Go see it. So there, spoiler warning. All right, so I guess we're going to start with the Wayne Enterprises scene. The, I guess, little Easter egg or whatever. I don't know if it's really Easter egg, but yeah.
And to be honest, I wasn't even expecting a scene like that in the movie, so I was quite surprised that it did start in modern day, but I think that it was an effective way to get into the movie because it sets you in the present, and then pretty much, I mean, it's only like a minute scene, right? Like a minute and a half maybe at the beginning of the film, and then boom, you're straight into a standalone prequel movie. I did say yesterday, like, forewarning to everyone, the DC fans can hate in the comments at me, that's fine. I didn't like Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, so part of me wishes that the scene wasn't there because now I still have to kind of acknowledge that Batman v Superman was a thing. But it's really minute. I mean, it's like a minute long, and I understand why it's there, which then it serves as an introduction and then gets us into the movie.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it just because I liked Batman, so I was like, "Oh, awesome, that's cool." And I think I said it in my spoiler review that I like when kind of the movies they acknowledge things that happen. There's like a connection in there, like in Suicide Squad, where they talk about what happened in BVS. So I just like that, and I feel like it didn't really take away a lot from the movie because they're very short, and then I liked. When you see the first part at the beginning, it's like, oh God, some people might not like that, but then you see the end, and then the email she writes back to Bruce, and it's kind of like means a little bit more. So I thought that was very, I don't know, I kind of got emotional when I was reading the email. I'm like, oh,
it'll be
so
interesting
sweet.
to see if that gets like a payoff in Justice League, if they are going to have, I mean, I haven't watched all the animated films, everything like that, but there's always seems to be a thing going on between Diana and Bruce, so because they have that connection that he went and got the photo for her, maybe that will set up something there. Did you expect to see Affleck in the movie at all when you saw the whole Wayne Enterprises thing? Did you think that we'd get a glimpse of him like we did at the end of Suicide Squad, or did you think it was going to be centered on Wonder Woman?
No, I thought it was going to be centered on Wonder Woman, but I kind of felt like Bruce was kind of asking her out, and he's like, maybe one day you'll tell me your story. I felt like, he wants to take her out to dinner or something,
He's going to take her to like a cafe in Italy somewhere, and Alfred's just going to give him like the nod from across the table.
The best date ever. Can I go on that date? That'd be awesome. Okay, so anything else you want to say about that scene?
No, I think it's a really small scene. I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay, so I guess Paradise Island or Themyscira.
Oh my God, it's so cool.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I've talked about Wonder Woman so much, so I don't even remember what video I said what.
They all kind of merge into one, don't they? After a while.
But I was saying that they needed to make like a nerdy like Themyscira resort and like have it set there in Italy where it took place, and a lot of us nerds will go there and be a vacation spot for nerds. That would be awesome. But maybe you shouldn't put a resort there. It's too beautiful. Just leave it as it is. But I kind of wish we could have seen more of it because it's so pretty. But
no, that's exactly what I said too. I mean, I compared it to the first Thor movie when we get, because I didn't know anything about Thor when I first watched that film. So when you're introduced to Asgard, for example, and all the mythology and all the lore, I love that kind of stuff. So I was just getting thoroughly absorbed in it. And it was exactly the same with this movie too, with Themyscira. I mean, this is the first time. I mean, I haven't really watched much of the 70s show. I'm guessing we don't see Themyscira in that TV show. So this is really the first live action film version of this place that we've seen. And I talked about it yesterday, but where with the lasso of truth scene where it's like this stone structure. It looks like a stone. It looks incredible. The cinematography of everything on Paradise Island is amazing. And I liked seeing all the different warrior women in as well. They all had like different weapons, different ways of fighting, different ways of training. And I would have loved to have seen more of it. I know that you can't because it's a 2-hour 20 movie and you've got to move on. You've got to introduce a lot of other things and get the plot moving. But I was like, I'd love an extended cut of this and get like another 15 minutes just on Paradise Island.
Yeah, I was so happy that I think that they did a really good job of, bringing it to life just, after seeing it in like comics and the animated, the movies and everything. So I was very happy, they looked like actual Amazons and it was beautiful and the costume. So yeah, that was awesome. I love it. So pretty. And I really liked, one shot I really liked, it has to do with the little girl, is when she's on the horse. She's like, yeah, she like points like that. I don't know. I just love that shot. It's just because I think it's just beautiful. The flowers, the little girl's adorable. She's riding a horse. Like, it's just a great shot. She's like, she has this like look on her face, like, oh, you can see already Wonder Woman. She's becoming Wonder Woman in there. She's like, yeah. She's like fierce. I don't know. I don't like.
Yeah, well, it's nice that we see that from a really young age with her as well. Like, you get to see that fire in her eyes from a little girl. Then we get like, I guess, like teenage Wonder Woman, and then we get to Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. And it's nice that you have that progression with the character at the beginning of the film, and that inherently she's always been a good character. She's always known that she's destined for more. And you have Queen Hippolyta, who's trying to keep her away from that. She's very wary of what she might become, but ultimately in the end she has to give in to the fact that this is her path, this is the destiny she's going to take. And it was pretty cool. I guess jumping ahead a little bit, we'll talk about the introduction of Steve Trevor, but the attack on the beach with all the Amazon women was incredible. That shot where they all ride up on horseback in formation, that one that swings from the cliff edge that's in the trailer with the three arrows and the bow and arrow was awesome. The only negative I had with the action scenes in general in this film was that there might be a bit too much slow motion in there. I get the application of slow motion and whites in there because you can zone in on some bits, but I did think they should have dialed back a little bit on it. But again, very, very small negative point, but it's awesome.
I love that scene. I can't wait to freaking get the movie on Blu-ray, and I'll probably just like rewatch it over and over because when I watched it a couple days ago for the third time, I was like, God, it's like always awesome. And Robin Wright, oh my gosh, with the arrows, she did such a great job. Oh my
absolutely.
gosh.
And I mean, going back to, I know we're not talking about Flashpoint right now, but oh my God, that gets so much more violent than even this movie did, which I was surprised about.
I told you.
Yeah.
Okay. So introduction of Steve Trevor. Okay.
Yes.
Definitely Little Mermaid. Okay, let me know in the comments, in the chat, if anyone else thought of Little Mermaid in that one shot when Gal is looking down at him. Please let me know. I'm not the only one who thought of Little Mermaid, but that was very Little Mermaid-ish. And I thought it was awesome that, Diana saved him. And anything else you want to say?
I love Chris Pine in this movie. Talked about it yesterday, but I really like Chris Pine. He's not a huge box office draw for me personally, but if he's in a movie, I'm like, he's going to do a solid job. I liked him in Star Trek and Hell at High Water from last year, and he does a solid job here too. And the humor is just so natural in this movie. It doesn't feel forced. There's a natural chemistry right from their opening scene together. And you're not the only one who thought of Little Mermaid too. I'm a huge Disney fan, so you also mentioned there was a bit. I can't remember which bit you said.
Aladdin.
But, Aladdin, yeah.
It's like, oh, it's my blind sister or something.
Oh, that's yeah.
Reminds me of the marketplace when Aladdin's like taking Jasmine and she's like, oh, hello, how are you? And she's like acting like she's dumb. So yeah, it kind of reminded me of Aladdin, but just because I just love those movies. And that scene is pretty funny. Like every time I've seen it, like when like she's like, you're a man, and he's like, don't I look like one? Like the audience always laughs. So I thought that was really cool. And
how many times have you seen this movie right now? Just for the record.
Three.
Okay, I'm still on one at the minute. I do need to see this movie again. When I went to see it, it was kind of middle of the afternoon, so it wasn't a completely packed crowd, although the audience enjoyed it. So I'm really hoping if I get to it very soon, then I'll get the full audience experience.
The when I saw it this last time with this crowd, it wasn't that great. I mean, yeah, they did laugh, but the first two crowds I saw it with was so much better because I guess we were more diehard fans because the first time I saw it was at an early screening and then the premiere. So we were like cheering, we were like, yeah, like all, you know, all these reactions and stuff. It wasn't just like laughing, but we would like cheer and clap a lot. And then this one, it was like a lot of older people and stuff. And I was the only one at times that I was like, woo, or like cheering. I was like, come on, guys, like don't be so lame. Like, oh God. Like,
you're there with like the sword and the shield in the crowd, and everyone else.
I wanted to, but I know the police would probably shoot me or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
But it's America, but they're gonna think anything's a weapon. But yeah, it made it kind of like, it made me feel, I don't know. I still kept doing it, but I just felt annoyed that I was the only one, and I don't know. I just felt like people were like, just let loose a little bit. Okay, she's having some great scenes, and there were like scenes that in the first two screenings we all like cheered and clapped and everything, and like in this third crowd, they're just like all quiet. I'm like, oh God, come on, like.
And then you can't get into it as much yourself, then, can you? Because it's better when. Sounds like I need to come. It sounds like I need to like get over to the US and check out like a pre-screening, because in the UK, even on like an opening day, everyone's so prim and proper and just boring, and no one applauds or anything like that. You don't get any of that.
Oh yeah, it's like kind of like it feels like a party in a way. Like, I mean, we're still able to listen to the movie, and you know, it's not like we prevent ourselves from listening to the movie, but when there's like a really good moment, we cheer and we're like, yeah, you know. But yeah, some crowds. It makes the experience funner, but yeah. Anything else about? I also really liked after the battle, when you know they were all going after Steve because because he's like they're basically blaming him, and then Diana stood up for him, and that just made me think of like the stupid people that keep saying, "Oh, feminist propaganda." I'm like. She's defending him. She's like on his side. How is that like man against woman? And then there's actually a male villain and a female villain, and a male good guy and a female good guy. So how is this like? It's just crazy that people are saying.
Yeah, no, it's weird seeing all the articles for it out there on the internet, things like that. I mean, I never picked up on anything like that. I thought it was very well balanced because obviously Wonder Woman is a huge feminine icon, quite rightly so. And I did think that the movie was just going to keep, hammering that home just like to the nth degree, but it was really not so much. Well, I guess it was subtle, but I thought it was done in a natural way. And it didn't get in the way of the movie or anything like that. And, she turned up. She was a great superhero. It was a great superhero movie. And I think that's inherently all it needs to be, really. I don't think it needs to have all those other factors that people are all writing very long articles on the internet about. But one thing about that scene I did want to talk about was the lasso of truth, because she had it in BVS. We knew it was going to be in this one, but when we go back to Man of Steel, for example, when they did that movie, it almost felt like they were embarrassed to be making a Superman movie, like to the point where they don't really even call him Superman all that much. I think they call him it once, and it's like it sticks in their throat every time they try and say Superman. In this one, they just embraced it. I thought the lasso was just going to be used in action scenes as like a cool accessory when she's fighting. But no, they do the whole lasso of truth thing, because it is inherently a very cheesy concept, even in the comic book. The two things that I knew about Wonder Woman were the lasso itself and the invisible jet. Unfortunately, we don't get the invisible jet in this movie, hoping we get it in the sequel. So it was cool to see it, and it is played for like, it's a genuinely funny moment where you've got Steve, like in Chris Pine's performance as well, where he's trying not to give all the secrets away, but the lasso of truth gets the better of him, and that was funny to see that as well.
Yeah. Shoot, what was I going to say? Dang it. Oh, my mind went blank.
We're doing it live, folks.
Sorry, this is what happens. But yeah, I love that scene too. It still made me laugh like every time. I love it. And I actually thought it looked cool, because I felt like, I don't know, I thought they made a good job of making the lasso look cool, because I don't know, if I probably would have made it, I would have made it look like just like a stupid rope, and it would have looked horrible. So
it's like if we were making Wonder Woman on a budget of like $10 or something, we just get some like rope and just But
I don't think they I don't think they ever call her Wonder Woman in the movie or in BBS. Like she does embrace like who she
yeah.
is, but I feel like they've never say. But Superman, like I do know that like they did call him Superman like in like the news reports and when they were talking about him, but I don't know if they really like use the names a lot. Like
yeah, no, I'm trying. Are you really going to make me watch Batman v Superman again? Is this it? Have I got to go back now and check?
I think like
I really don't want to.
I don't think they ever called him Batman. They're like the Batman. Like
yeah,
it's like we don't know. Like that's just what we're calling him, but that's not his official name. And yeah, I don't know. I just noticed that. And then like Wonder Woman, I don't think they ever like say the words Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I never thought about that, to be honest. I guess because it's all over the posters and everything, we just assume that that's what they call her. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't think they do.
Maybe when Justice League, maybe if like other, people are talking about them like on the news or something, maybe they'll start. Or maybe it's because Lex is the one that gives them the names, which is kind of weird. But
yeah, he's done like the whole marketing campaign, hasn't he? He's got logos for everyone. Yeah. He's got all these trailers set up.
Okay, let me see just some of the comments. Lawrence about to watch the movie again for the 5th time. Awesome. Culture Freak, hello from Belgium. Hi. Hopefully I get to go there. This movie versus Z2. This movie gave me the same type of feels that I haven't gotten in many superhero movies since The Dark Knight. Awesome. And Culture Freak, awesome fun movie with great characters. Yes, it is. Geeked Out Turtles fan. Hi, Itzmoe. Hi. Culture Freak, loved it from start to finish. Awesome action scenes and instant favorite for me. Yeah, definitely for me too. Oh god. Every time I go see a movie multiple times, it's automatically a favorite. Duh! There's only a few movies I've done that with. Lawrence Windrush, talk about the cinematography. Film reminds me of 19th century paintings. Ooh, okay, so we kind of talked about a little bit in the spoiler-free review. Yeah. So you should.
Well, I mentioned like the mascara as well, but yeah, I mean the entire movie just looked gorgeous. I mean, in some scenes it still did have that very desaturated look, like a lot of the previous DC films. But I made a comment that kind of annoyed a lot of people in one of my reaction videos, where I was like, "Oh my god, this movie actually has color in it, though." Like the scenes on the mascara, I was like, we actually have more colors than gray, black, and brown in this film. That's nice.
And they made, I think I said in either the spoiler review or spoiler-free one, they made everyone look, I think, good. Like Gal, I mean, that's also part of cinematography too. It's just like lighting, camera angles, and Gal, she looked so beautiful. Every shot, you're just like, oh god, you can't stop looking at her. And I said it in my, I think, spoiler-free one that I'm not really a Chris Pine person. And in this one, I was like, he's actually like pretty attractive. I'm like, god darn you, camera and lighting, you made him look all good, and hair and makeup. Because I'm usually not really, Chris Pine. But yeah, cinematography. Yeah, I think I said you could like put this movie on mute and you'll just be like, I think you can still watch it because it's so nice to look at with all the action scenes too and everything. So, but well, that's interesting that it reminded Lawrence of 19th century paintings. I think one thing that to me the painting one was the Zeus thing. That kind of looked like
no, I loved how they did that. It did look like a fresco, didn't it? Like how it was painted and animated. That was really nice.
Some people didn't. I saw some reviews where people didn't like that, but I actually liked it. I don't know.
I think we needed it because, I mean, this is the first time that we're getting this character in live action. Like with Batman, for example, you don't really need to show his origin story because everyone knows it from birth pretty much. Same with Superman, Spider-Man as well. But Wonder Woman, only the really hardcore DC fans or people that have read the comics know about it. So I think that you need to introduce the whole Greek god setup and everything like that, because if you just throw people into it, they're going to be like what's going on? Like, please explain it. So I thought it was effective, and then it obviously sets up the ending as well with Ares.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, the sail to London. Oh my god, that's one of my favorite scenes. It's so hard to pick a favorite. I can't pick a favorite because there's so many I love, and that is definitely one of my favorite ones.
Well, what I like about this film as well is that, I mean, the action scenes are great, don't get me wrong, but most of the time, the action scenes aren't my favorite scenes in the movie. They're really little character moments or throwaway lines or comedic lines. And I mean, this was a great scene as well. I think you talked about it in one of your reviews before, but the whole scene where I love how Gal Gadot plays it because she's both very sort of like a liberated woman. Like she says, like, yeah, come and sleep with me. It's fine. You know, like, what are you panicking about? It's completely natural. But then on the other side, she's so naive and innocent and doesn't know a lot about human customs. So you have this complete juxtaposition of the different cultures and what they've experienced before and everything like that. And they both play it. They're really cute together in this scene, especially, you know, Chris Pine like has no idea what he's doing. He's never been with a woman like this that's so cool with this. Yeah, and it was funny. And again, we talked about the chemistry. It's solid all the way through this movie. And even when we get to the ending and you have like the whole love angle, and I know a lot of people are fairly torn on that, because they're so good together from the beginning of the film all the way through. You know, I'm kind of on board with it. I'm fine with it.
And I thought it was so cute, like her naivete in the beginning when she first gets on the boat. She's like, you know, talking about like, oh, you know, and I just kill Ares. You know, everything's gonna be great. The war's gonna be over. She's all excited. He's like, yeah, okay, sure. It's just like humoring her. I thought that was kind of sweet. That like, you know, he just kind of let her. Okay, sure, if that's what you think. He wasn't just like, because you know, I know from just personal experience, there are people that would probably be like, oh, like, you're so stupid, like, that's not how it is. But he just kind of let her like, okay, sure. You know, I thought that was very sweet of him. And then, you know, that whole scene and the pleasures of the flesh and fine, I'll sleep with you. Like, oh God, so many great lines.
I love how they even threw in the, and again, I think Wonder Woman's had quite a lot of different stories over the years, but even how they threw the whole thing that she was made out of wax. And Zeus screwed her life, and then Chris Pine's just like, he has a pause and he's like, well, that's neat. Like, I love that bit as well. Because it is a very cheesy aspect to the character, but it's just, again, Patty Jenkins just having that love for the source material and throwing in these little bits. It's all great.
Yeah, you know, they're acknowledging that, you know, it's a little maybe hard to believe. But,
yeah.
But I don't know, I think some people were confused because I read some, or I think watched some reviews where people were kind of confused about the origin, because in this movie they kind of use both origins and they combine them in a way, because in the comics, you know, there's, you know, the made out of clay one, and then, you know, daughter of Zeus. They're different. But in this one they use both. You know, they use the clay one as Hippolyta kind of lying to her as kind of like the fake origin, but the real one was that she was actually the daughter of Zeus. So I thought that was kind of cool how they used both of them. But some people were, I read, just they were like confused in the reviews. Like they're like, I don't know which is her real origin. But you know, then, you know, at the end, you know, she calls Ares her brother because they're both, you know, this is their dad. So hopefully, you know, some people get it. Just watch it a few times. Just pay and watch it. You know, just let's make it more money. So
support this movie.
Yes. And do you want to move on to German? Ludendorff.
Yes, Ludendorff. When I for anyone who doesn't know, we've got a plan up right now of like which points to talk about, and I couldn't remember the name of the German guy, so he's literally called German guy in the plan. But yes, Ludendorff.
That means he wasn't that memorable.
No, I liked him, and I think I know the actor. I think the only film I've seen the actor in before was the very awful X-Men Origins Wolverine. I think he played William Stryker in that movie. So that's just where I know him from. So he was like German William Stryker for me in this film. No, I thought he was good. And I guess if you're going to go with like a negative for the film, I would say that the villain side of the film might be slightly less developed than Wonder Woman. But I mean, it's not a problem for me at all. And going back to like what we talked about with the whole wax creation and it being very cheesy and the whole cheesy nature of Wonder Woman from the earlier comics, even the villain in this film, he almost felt like, and him and Dr. Poison together, they almost felt like a duo from like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah,
like there's a scene where like this is a bit more extreme than a Saturday morning
like
cartoon.
Boris and what's from Rocky and Bullwinkle? Did you ever watch
Boris
and Natasha? Boris and Natasha.
Yeah. I mean, this is a bit more extreme, but in this movie they basically gas an entire room of people, but then they're like giggling about it outside, and it felt I can understand that people might have a problem with that and think that it doesn't fit the tone of the rest of the movie, but I think you do need that element of cheesiness in there, and I think it works for the villains. And I like the aspect that they do, this is jumping ahead a bit, but with Ares, where he says that he's whispered in the ears of these people throughout the ages so that evil kind of, you know, festers and it grows. But also you could look at it in a way because clearly Ares, the spirit of Ares isn't dead, because after World War One, we get World War Two, we get many other wars and conflicts that through the ages. But you could look at it in that ambiguous way that maybe some humans are just naturally bad. And Steve Trevor kind of has that conversation with her towards the end of the film. So I like how that element was brought into it as well.
I think I saw in an interview somewhere that I think that part was improvised, where they laughed.
Oh, wow.
They were talking about the mass, and I think they improvised that part where they laughed. So yeah, I actually like that. Like, it didn't bother me.
Same.
But yeah, for me, those two villains were probably like the weakest, because I just felt like, well, mostly like Ludendorff, I was kind of like, why is he there? Like, after you find out he's not really Ares. And then I kind of had a feeling he wasn't, because I felt like they were making it too obvious. I'm like, okay, if he's really Ares, why are you gonna like try to make it very obvious that it's Ares? I don't know.
I mean, the whole role of his character was just to serve as a red herring before we get the reveal at the end.
Yeah.
I did predict that David Thewlis, the guy who's Ares, I did think he was going to turn out to be a bad guy, but I didn't know they were going to go so far as to say that he was Ares, because the guy plays the role of like crusty, old, middle-aged British government guy so well that I just, even when you see him in the armor, even in the flashback sequence at the end where we see him as like Greek god Ares, I'm like, I don't see this actor in this role, but I'm completely fine with it, because seeing Professor Lupin throw lightning was amazing.
Yeah. No, do you want to move on? Fish out of the water?
Yeah, the one thing I did want to say really quickly, this is a slight negative as well. Okay. The one problem I had with like the German, it's mostly in the scenes where you've got a lot of German officers together in like a boardroom and they're talking about strategy. The fact that they speak in English with like a German lilt to their accent when they would all be speaking German. Like, I would have been fine if they all spoke in German and you had the subtitles. Really small point. I understand that some films do it, some films don't do it, but you know, just if you're going with like historical accuracy when you've got Wonder Woman charging over the trenches, I think they could have, especially with DC trying to be a little bit more realistic or grounded in its films, I'd have liked to have seen them use the German language in it. Really, really small negative point.
Yeah, and I thought something similar to this. I didn't think about it the first two times, but the second time I thought about it, and I was like, is Chris Pine British? Or, because he doesn't have a British accent, but or is he an American working for the British? Because I was just a little confused about that, because I'm like, if he is British intelligence, I thought he would be British, but he doesn't have a British accent. So I don't know, maybe I missed something. Maybe he is an American working for the British, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was American working for the British.
Okay. So I was like, okay. But it's not gonna ruin the movie for me. I just like noticed that. I was like, okay. And then, you know, when you talk about that scene, I loved, you know, that they showed that she knows, you know, she actually used her skill of knowing so many languages. I thought that was awesome. And then, you know, that she stood up to the general. That is one of my favorite scenes. One of my other favorite scenes, because that's one where the first two times everyone cheered in the theater. The third time I was the only one cheering, and I was just like, what the heck, guys? This was a great scene. Why didn't you cheer for her? She was awesome.
But again, I love that bit about a character as well, because although this is a completely new world to her, there's some like her doctrine and like what she believes in and what the core of her character is, that she can't understand why the people of London don't get this. Like, you should be on the battlefield with them. You shouldn't be sending men to their death. And it's so simple. And she outlines it there, and everyone's looking at her like, what are you talking about? But I love that about a character. She instills that hope all the way through the movie, and that's why I love the character of Wonder Woman in this film.
And I just love how she's like, she sees somebody in pain or in trouble, she wants to help them. And they're like when they're walking through the different, when they're trying to get to the front, and then she sees all the, oh, he's hurt, you know, whatever, and they're like, no, Dan, I keep going. And I just love that about her. She wants to help. So yeah, I love you.
And also we talk about the scene as well where the scene you just mentioned, where she you know, she talks to the higher ups, the higher command. I like how the film even threw in little bits. I forgot the Etta Candy, is it, the comic relief secretary character? I like how they even throw lines in there like, you know, we're trying to get the vote, and it just kind of sets it in that historical setting, and they don't, you know, hammer the point home. It's just a casual little line throw in, and I thought that although it doesn't make a big deal of it, it enhances the world that they're in, and you could read into it as well the subtext of the film. And I like how they did that as well. They even do that with some of the not in terms of like historical context or anything like that, but the three people they recruit. We don't get massively involved with their characters, but they give us enough. You got the guy who wishes to be an actor, and he says, you know, with
the wrong
the
color.
race, yeah, and he says we're all fighting our own battles. You've got the Native American guy who says my people are all killed by his guys, and he points to see Trevor. Or you've got the Scottish guy who suffered
PTSD.
from PTSD, and when she liberates the village and there's that moment of calm, he sings again, and he hasn't sang in so many years. All these little bits that they don't go massively involved into, but it's nice that they're in the movie.
Yeah, I love that too. And I don't remember which review, but somebody said that they were like throwaway characters, all of them, and I'm just like, what?
No, I don't think so.
Watch the movie again, okay? I don't think they're freaking throwaway characters. So
you need to just do like that Batman slap, you know, that GIF where he's just slapping Robin. Like, go see the movie again.
Yeah, and I loved just how sweet she was to the Scottish guy. I don't remember his name. When she's like, who will sing for us? Like, just the smile she gives him. Like, oh, she's so sweet. I love her.
Like, oh, okay then.
Yeah, and then like he's singing, like then they cut to him still singing when they're on the horse. That's really funny. So, fish out of water.
I realize we're kind of jumping all about with this one. That's fine. Yeah, no, great comic relief. I did see the trailer where I did see that secretary character, and I thought, oh god, like please don't, like they could go so wrong with this if she's in the movie loads, and she isn't, and she is funny. And the scene where she's trying on all the different outfits, like the really high-necked, tight, old English clothes. She's saying like, how do you people fight in this? And she's like trying to kick with it. I loved it. And I think you mentioned as well about the Richard Donner comparisons to like the original two Superman films, with the scene with like where she gets the glasses on, and the revolving door, and the alley scene with the bullet catch. I like how you had all those old qualities to like the old 70s superhero films as well. So you had that charm to it as well.
And I don't know if did I mention it? I don't remember. But for those that didn't hear me, I like the music. I noticed it like the third time I watched it. The music, it was like a really like kind of really cute. I don't know how to describe it, but you need to see it.
It's like whimsical.
Yeah, whimsical kind of. When she's like walking out la, 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 with the freaking sword and shield. It's just, oh, it's so cute. It reminds me of like a cartoon or something, but so cute. And just like, she's like, okay, let me like kind of getting ready to go through the revolving door. Just like little things like that. It's just so cute. And then, you know, the baby part. Oh, so cute. Ice cream. And then this one I forgot to mention, but the snow, which is like looking, first of all, she looks beautiful in that scene. Just like when she's looking at the snow and she's like, oh, it's magical. Like, oh, that reminds me of Aladdin too. It's like magical. But I love
that dance scene with the snow. You just wanted to put like the Edward Scissorhands theme song over that scene.
It's one of my favorite movies ever.
Oh, me
too. But yeah, Gal did such a great job with those scenes, and I'm glad they were like they're little moments, but you know, it's
and I mean, if you look at what she has to do in this role, there's so many different emotions she has to carry across on screen. I mean, there's scenes of loss, for example, where her auntie dies on Themyscira, and towards the end where Steve Trevor dies. You've got comedy. She does the comedy so well in this film as well. She's got great timing with it, and she always has that cute, endearing quality to her. Throughout the movie, she's got the action scenes, and by God, does she kick ass in this movie. So just in terms of the scope of her performance in this, it's really incredible. And I'll be honest, when she was originally cast for Batman v Superman, I thought, oh no, like really out of all the people you could have auditioned for Wonder Woman, this is the best person for it. But after seeing this, you know, hats off to the casting directors whoever chose. I don't know if it was Zack Snyder whose call it was. Was it okay?
Yeah.
I say a lot of bad things about Zack Snyder, but okay, this isn't.
You have to give him credit for that.
I did, yeah.
Because I made a video when she first got cast. I didn't really know anything about her, so I couldn't really say anything. But I remember saying in the video, like, we need to see the movie. You know, this was PBS, so I was like, we need to see what he saw in her, because I have no idea what he saw in her. I don't know anything about her. And now after watching, well, especially this movie, it's like, now I understand why Zach cast her. You know, a lot of these actors, like, you know, we don't see what the directors and casting directors see. So sometimes they get cast and we're like, what? But then once we watch the movie, like Anne Hathaway is Catwoman. I don't know how you feel about that, but Heath Ledger.
Yeah, no, I thought she was fantastic. Yeah.
And Michael Keaton, those were, casting choices that people were like, what? But then once we saw them, we were like, oh, okay. I was never mad because I'm one of those people like we need to see the movie. But I know a lot of people like they like get really angry and stuff with they haven't even seen the movie. But yeah, so now I'm like, thank you, Zack Snyder. You cast a great Wonder Woman. So I ran into him. I walked past him at Warner Brothers once.
Oh, nice.
And I wanted to like thank him and all this stuff, but he was talking to somebody else. So I was like, God dang! If he was by himself,
I would have for it. You should have just done it.
Well, I just don't want to interrupt his conversation. But if he was by himself, I definitely would have. But yeah, I was so cool, so cool. I walked by him twice too, and both times he was talking to somebody. I was like, God dang it! But next time. One day. Thank you, Zach. And for casting Henry Cavill too.
Yes.
He's very attractive. And he's my favorite Superman. So let's see. Take notes to High Command.
I think we talked a little bit about that, didn't we? About how she kind of stands up to the.
Oh, okay. The general.
Command. Yeah, the general himself, though, I think the actor's name is James Cosmo. He's been in quite a lot of stuff. He's most recently been in Game of Thrones. I think spoiler alert for Game of Thrones, I think he died in like season 4. He was the High Commander. He was the High Commander of the Night's Watch. So he's a great actor, and he crops up in loads of different films. I didn't actually know he was going to be in this film, so it was nice to see him in the film.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen him somewhere. I just don't know where. He looked familiar.
Yeah, I think he was in Braveheart as well. If I remember rightly, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's a great actor, but yeah, didn't know he was going to be in there. I knew David Thewlis, the one who plays Ares. I knew he was going to be in the movie. I didn't realize how big or prominent a role he was even going to play in the movie either.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to go to travel to the front lines?
Yes, let's talk about the trench scene, because I know it's very difficult to pick a favorite scene, but if I'm going to pick a favorite scene, this scene is probably it. This was awesome. It's because there's so many superhero films that come out nowadays, not just from Marvel. Now we've got the DC films coming out. You've got Fox as well. It's very difficult to get a sense of awe or inspiring quality across in these films because we've kind of been there, done that, seen it now. But the scene where she goes over the top and the soundtrack in this scene as well, it was shown in the trailers, though. You kind of get the going up the ladder, and then you get the full reveal of the Wonder Woman costume as she's deflecting all the bullets. Genuinely awe-inspiring stuff. And if I'm looking at other superhero films that have instilled that in me, you've got the original Superman film, probably with the flight scene with Lois Lane and Clark, maybe Michael Keaton's Batman, or Christian Bale when he's in the Batcave and the bats are swirling around him. And now on that list for me is this trench scene. It was great. It was great not only just to see Wonder Woman in action, but I think out of all the scenes in the movie, if you're going to sort of look for a scene that encapsulates that bravery in her and just that belief in what's right and what she's doing is right, it's the scene of her single-handedly going over the trench to, take no man's land back, essentially. And it was awesome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I loved it. I just love how she didn't listen to Steve Trevor. He's like, "Oh, you can't save everyone. We're not going to go there." She's like, "You know what? Let me put this hair on. That's what I'm going to do."
Swish.
I thought that was pretty. That kind of reminded me of like a cartoon too, where she's just like, "Okay, it's on." Oh God, no, but yeah, she put it on. But then I noticed that some guys were looking at her. Like when I saw it the third time when she went like this. There's other like soldiers that they're like, "What's she doing?" They're gonna look at her. But yeah, I love that scene because it just kind of really shows just kind of what she's about. She's gonna fight for these for those who can't fight for themselves and I just loved how I probably mentioned it several times, but how he's like, okay, Steve Trevor's like, okay, she's doing this. Let's go help her. I love that. That's so awesome. I just love how supportive, he is of her and just how like they work together and everything. And then, that he used something that he saw on the mascara with the shield, because he saw the Amazons do the shield thing. And then he's like, okay, let's do that. He like thought of, doing that too. And so he got the guys to like, hold the thing. And then he's like, Dan, a shield, and then she did the same thing. I thought that was really cool. Like he actually used something that he saw the Amazons do.
Yeah, and he never made a big deal about it either. Like he would have just noticed it on the battlefield, paid attention to it, and then use it again. Yeah, that was a really nice moment. Also, I mean, I've only seen it once, so I can't remember, but I don't think she uses the lasso or does the massive jumps in that scene, does she? I think it's pretty just grounded. Like she goes, beats up a couple of guys with the shield and the sword.
Well, she does use the shield when she gets more like kind of closer to the church. She uses it several times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but when she's actually just going over the trench, it's a
lot
more...
no, not there. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like that they did that because it would be very easy to just get very samey with the action scenes, and I like how they saved the whole epic, kung fu stuff, chaining together combos with like the lasso and everything in the warehouse, and at the end with Ares. But I like that it's done for spectacle because I mean it is a spectacle when she goes over the trench, but it's done in a more personal way than just kicking ass. It's like this was a cause that she believed in, and you could bring that quality to all the other action scenes too, but the other ones are definitely done for the oh my god wonder, like that's when the theme's played, for example, when she's kicking ass in all the other action scenes. In this one it felt a lot more personal to a character, and that's probably why it's my favorite scene in the movie.
And you think you talked about the dance scene too.
I love this scene. I love it so much. They were so cute together.
One moment I also really liked that definitely goes against this whole feminist propaganda thing is when Steve tells her, you saved the day or something like that. She's like, we did or something, or we all did or something. So I thought that was, cool of her to do. So it's definitely not like, yes, women are awesome, you guys are useless. So, oh God, these people are so stupid. I don't think they watched the movie. But I like that line. And then the dance scene was so sweet. It was kind of nice to kind of, there's like all this action, and then this was kind of a little slow, It's like, okay, let's kind of breathe, let's just relax for a bit and just have a little fun. And so I think they did a good job with the pacing of the film.
Yeah, no, I think that's important as well, because it'll be great to see Wonder Woman just action scene after action scene, but you do need those moments of downtime to establish the character, to, let the characters breathe a bit, let them enjoy the victory that they just had, and we get a few more moments with the three recruits they have, for example, and seeing the town restored to its former glory. Yeah, I liked it. And going back to what you said about she includes everyone in the victory, not just herself. I was talking about this on the channel yesterday, but one of my co-hosts brought up the point, because he's really big into like World War history and everything like that, and he was saying that one of his biggest concerns going into this movie after seeing the trailer was that he hoped that they wouldn't set it in an actual battle. So, for example, the Battle of the Somme, a huge amount of loss of life there. He really didn't want them to take that and just do like an alternate history and say, oh, but Wonder Woman showed up and saved everyone, because that would take away from the historical impact. They were very clever with this movie in that they never outright said which battle it was. It was just a skirmish in no man's land. And I like that they didn't get in the way of historical accuracy with anything like that.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, because I was thinking about that too, because I'm like, you can't, we all know Wonder Woman was not actually in World War I, so yeah. Anything else about that scene? Well, I already talked about that snow bit. I like. And then another thing I thought was really cute, it's just a really little thing, just when Chris Pine he clinks her glass, and she's like, kind of like, oh, okay, just like a little moment, like I'm like, okay, this is what you guys do. Okay, cool.
So like those human customs she's still not aware of yet.
And how do you feel about how they did the love scene? It wasn't much of a love scene.
The biggest question of this movie when you hit the credits is, did they do it? I thought it was fine. Personally, it did seem to drag the pacing down, how we have this romantic scene with them in the snow. I think if you were going to have them kiss there, just do it there. But then we kind of get another scene where they go back to the room and they do it there. It's fine. I mean, you don't see anything, because I think that would have kind of cheapened the whole movie if they had have showed something. But no, it's fine. Again, it plays into the whole love angle with characters, and they're good together. I like seeing them together, so I didn't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job with it too, just because I don't think we needed to see, like, we know it's gonna happen. we know what they're alluding to. I don't think we need to see it. So
we didn't need like a Watchmen scene with like Silk Spectre and Night Owl. Like we didn't need a slow motion Zack Snyder hallelujah scene between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. I'm sure some people would have loved to have seen that, but I just mean in terms of maybe we'll get that in the ultimate cut. Who knows?
But I think the answer is yes. I think they did do it because Chris Pine looked pretty okay the next day. At first, when they were on the horses, like that next day, and they were on the horses, and he's like, "You're lying" or something. The other guy, I was like, "Oh my gosh, is he telling them that they slept together or something?" That's the first thing I thought. And then he's like, "Oh, you're telling me there's a whole island of women?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's what he was talking about." I was like, I was gonna be mad, like Steve Trevor, you're kissing and telling. What the heck? Don't be like a high school kid or whatever. I slept with Wonder Woman. Like I would have been upset. Like, no, don't do that. But I'm so glad they didn't have Steve Trevor doing that.
I think that's the magic of movie editing, isn't it? Like if you put those two scenes together, you're gonna get that impression from it. I never even thought of that, to be honest. I'm gonna have to watch the movie again. I'm gonna be looking out for that next time. He probably did kiss and tell.
Because it goes like, okay, they have the the window, the window with the light. Then they cut to the next day, and who's gonna sing for us? And then they like cut to the horses, and then he's like, "You're lying," or something. He said something like, "I can't believe what you're saying." And then Chris Pine's like, "No, it's true," or something like that. And then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're telling," like he couldn't believe that he slept with Wonder Woman. But then it was about the mascara. But that's just what I thought.
What is it that guy with the fez says? Like, I'm excited and aroused. Like, what is it he says in the bar? Like,
I'm both aroused and frightened at the same
that's
time.
it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that line. That's one of my favorite. I'm glad they kept that. I'm glad that's in there. That was awesome. That was also a great little action scene too. When she's just like beating up the guys, and she like, holds his, grabs a gun and everything. That was great. And then, then there's also another part. I noticed it more on the third viewing. When I didn't notice it the first two times, but I don't know if you did either. But when I think it's when Gal and I don't remember his name. I need to get their names. The guy with the fez. They're going back and forth in different languages and stuff. And
I love that. Yeah.
And then Chris Pine is like, "Okay, you guys done?" Or he actually says something like that. "Okay, you done now?" Like he's just like, "Okay, I'm kind of third wheel here. What's going on?" He's like, "We done now?" And I can't understand what you guys are saying. That's cool. So I didn't notice that he said that until like the third time. So I thought that was like a really funny little thing.
It's like a little part of me really wanted the guy with the fez and Wonder Woman to get together. Just a little part of me in that scene.
Oh my gosh. So learn. Do you want to do the next thing?
Yeah. So it's around about this time we get a bit more focus with the German guy, Ludendorff, and we learn that he's going to he's going to wait till the armistice happens, and then he's going to gas pretty much all the main world leaders, I assume, when they're all in one place together. Now, I have a problem with this when we learn what Ares' motive is at the end of the film, because I'm probably going to have to watch it again because maybe I missed something, but Ares essentially wants war to continue. I think that's pretty much what the goal he wants to accomplish. He is the god of war, after all. So he's creating this armistice to then gas everyone so that the war will continue afterwards and be more powerful than ever. But if he didn't create an armistice in the first place, the war would continue anyway.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little confused. Maybe there's a detail I missed, or maybe there's a line of dialogue he says that justifies it. I'm going to have to watch it again. But that was the only problem I kind of had with Ares' plan, because I didn't really get the point of an armistice other than just like it being an end goal for Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor to try and prevent for the end of the film.
Maybe he thought it would make it worse. I don't know. Maybe he thought it would make
I don't know. Again, as I said, maybe I missed something. I've only seen the film once, and this was like Thursday last week, so it's been a while. But and again, when we get to that, they host that gala, like that party that they have to try and infiltrate, and that was like a complete Mission Impossible moment. I loved how they're all trying to get there. You've got Steve Trevor in the car with the guy with the fez. He says like, "I'll be your chauffeur," and then you've got Chris Pine talking in a really awful German accent to try and sneak in. I love stuff like that.
That was so funny. Oh my gosh! And then whoop, he like corrects his
the pipe.
Yeah. And then I liked how Wonder Woman, she disappeared. And she didn't listen to Steve. It's like, stay here, you're too distracting. And she's like, I'm not gonna listen to you. Like, you know, do what I want. And then it was just funny when she wouldn't say anything when she approached that lady. And she's just like looking at her, kind of like standing next to her. Can we say hi? You know? And she's like, what are you doing? That was kind of cool. I wonder what she did with that woman. Like, that's what I wonder. Like, how? I mean, I don't think she like killed her.
Like chokehold her, like break her neck. Do like a General Zod and just like snap her neck and throw her in the bushes somewhere. Like.
Yeah, they just didn't include that in there because they knew people would hate it. So
I will say though that when Wonder Woman's in disguise and she's in this dress, I don't know how inconspicuous the giant sword was at the back of her dress.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're meant to infer that it's meant to be some kind of attachment onto the dress, but come on, it looks like a sword. It's
pretty big. I mean, I was wondering, like, nobody's looking at her from the back. Like, I don't know. It looked cool though. It looked cool, but you know.
I was expecting like the Braveheart moment, like in that film where he like surrenders and he's got the giant sword at the back and then he's just going to bring it out and kill someone. I was expecting that to happen. I love the it's a really kind of weird scene that's thrown in, but I love it where Steve Trevor's talking to Dr. Poison and they're looking in the fireplace because there's a glimmer of like hope for the character where you think she might come round, she might see the error of her ways, and then it's only when Steve Trevor looks at Gal Gadot and he's like, oh my god, she's beautiful when she walks in the dress, and then Dr. Poison kind of goes, oh, I guess the attention's not on me then, and that's where she turns back into the villain side. I love that.
Yeah, I during that scene I was like, she's getting pretty turned on right now.
yeah
like we're talking about the fire and everything, I'm like, she's like, yes baby, that's what I like. Talk about the fire more.
The mask like on, like she clearly doesn't get much attention, unfortunately.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for her though, like at the same time. So but yeah, what else?
So this is where like Steve prevents Wonder Woman from killing
Ludendorff.
And then they have that exchange where she's saying, well, this is where they go back to the village and she sees that it's been entirely gassed.
So sad.
Which is a heartbreaking moment. I was really confused, though, at first because I didn't know the extent of Wonder Woman's power. So when she walks into this complete just cloud of mustard gas, sorry, she walks in and she's completely fine. And I was like, oh, okay, so I guess she's like impervious to bullets and gas now as well. And it's until, Trevor gets there and then he's coughing and spluttering. I was like, okay, she must be impervious to gas. So that did take me off guard a bit. Again, I don't know much about the Wonder Woman character. I don't know how powerful she is. Clearly, she's very powerful. So
I didn't know that either. But when I saw her just walk in and be fine, I'm like, okay, I guess it's another ability she has. And I wonder if she like knew or she just didn't care. She's just like, oh, whatever. Like, but yeah, I guess that's a new power.
And this is where she's really at her like most. This is where she's completely beat down emotionally in the film at this point, which fuels her anger and rage for when we get to the final. I did think it was necessary. I mean, obviously, it was devastating that the village that she just worked so hard to save is just gone. But it shows the consequences of war, the effects of war, what can happen. And Steve, he's clearly been in this war for a long time, and he says that these things happen. So he doesn't seem like he's uncaring. I think he's just got to the point where he's seen so much of this happen that he's kind of numb to it now. And it's just almost like a job, like, okay, what's the next goal? How can we prevent another village like this being destroyed? But again, Wonder Woman, she wants to save everyone. And this is all new to her. Sad face.
Then it got really dark in that scene. I noticed the third time I watched it because it goes from that scene to the Ares, where she goes over there where Ares is, or the smoke and everything. She gets to that like tarmac or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's night. Like she goes from like the village where it's like kind of dusk, and then I'm like, okay, wow, that got dark. The sun went down real fast.
Well, we are in the DCU, so like every final battle with the bad guy has to be at night time and in like a remote airstrip or somewhere.
Avengers, it's daytime fights, and DC's night. Then sorry.
I think this is just the bit where she kills Ludendorff and she expects, she thinks he's Ares, and then she kills him, and it's this really sad moment where she's like, nothing's changed. Why are they still fighting? Like it doesn't feel different. You expect this whole weight to be instantly lifted, and it hasn't. And then this is again another great conversation between Steve Trevor where he's like, maybe some humans are just bad. You know, maybe just chalk it up to that. Maybe there is no Greek gods. Maybe there is no Ares, Zeus, blah blah blah. And it's you can see her going, okay, maybe everything I've been taught to believe is a lie. And again, it's beating the character down even more emotionally until we get to, you know, Ares, where he pretty much beats her down physically for the first part of that fight.
And it was, I liked seeing, because I think that was kind of the moment where she kind of stopped, you know, being naive. She kind of realized, it's like, this is reality now. Like, it's not going to be, it's not so simple.
Yeah, well, she saw everything in just complete black and white, didn't she? But Steve Trevor kind of says there's a grey area to it as well. And I think Ares kind of talks about that as well, where he says that he's planted ideas in people's heads, but he's kind of just left them to their own devices. And that's human nature sometimes.
Oh, Silent Steve and Wonder Woman scene.
Yeah. The feels are real. I thought that was a really clever way to do it, because they could have easily have just done like the whole cliched goodbye, I love you, all that stuff, which they do, I guess, later on in the film. But I like how they structured it, because it felt, I hadn't seen anything like that in a film before, where they did the whole speech in silence.
You couldn't hear it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's well, that's the last time she saw him. She didn't. As a viewer, we know what he said, but she never did. And it's really sad. And then he sacrifices himself, which was a great moment. I don't know if this is the comic books. I don't know if he sacrifices himself in the comic books or anything like that, or if his character stays alive throughout most of the Wonder Woman's stories. But I think it was necessary that he sacrificed himself in that moment. I think it was building to that all the way through the movie. And it, like Wonder Woman's completely selfless, in that moment, she sees how selfless Steve Trevor was as well. And we have to say goodbye to Chris Pine in this movie, which was really sad.
I mean, I had a feeling, that he probably wasn't gonna make it, but still, I was hoping maybe he could make it through the movie. I mean, I know he's probably be older if he was in like any of the other movies, but as soon as I saw him on that plane, just the look on his face, it's like looking back, I'm like, no, Steve, no, don't do it, no, please.
And that scream she lets out afterwards, oh my god, like.
Oh, so good, so good. So I thought that was one of her best like moments in the movie.
Yeah, I can imagine you were exactly the same in the movie theater.
I said at the same time, I'm like, no, Steve. Oh my gosh, yeah, it was so good. And I was so sad, when she couldn't hear him, because it's such. Oh my god. Okay, this guy, you love him. And then you're not even gonna get to spend a lot of time with him, and it's gonna be the last time you see him. It's just so sad. And like, you need to hear what he's gonna say the last time you see him. But then I guess she kind of does, like, it kind of comes back to her when she's gonna, she's about to like throw that tank. Yeah. She's like just standing there, and then she's like closing her eyes, and then she like thinks about what Steve said. Eventually does remember, and that gives her like, she's like, it's about love, man, love. But yeah, that was so sad.
Maybe even if it's not like, even if she doesn't remember the words exactly because she didn't hear them, maybe she kind of figures out, I guess that's what he would be saying in that scene when he watch. Like that. But the scene where she's got the tank and you've got Ares saying like, do it, fulfill your destiny, whatever, it just reminded me of Star Wars with like the Emperor telling like Luke to kill Vader in that scene, and she's like, I'll never turn to the dark side, and just like throws the tank away. It'd be awesome if Luke Skywalker had a giant tank he was going to crush Vader with instead of a lightsaber. But
oh my gosh, yeah, I love that scene. I think it's sad but romantic.
And I think why this end action scene worked, and I did say that, I think I said this in either spoiler free or spoilers yesterday, that I do think that the end battle, the end boss fight, is probably one of the weakest bits of the film. It kind of goes back to the whole Doomsday kind of fight again, like a dark airstrip remote, loads of CGI action. I didn't like the CGI on his armor, by the way. I like the look of the armor, but the CGI was a little bit. I think in the close-up shots they should have built some armor for him, and then in the far-away shots, or when they're doing the crazy action, maybe do CGI then. I am glad they did get him in the armor though, because I think I mentioned this, but when I was watching it, when the fight starts off, he's just kind of in like a business suit, and it's just like evil Professor Lupin just like fighting Wonder Woman. And I was like, I really hope, because the fight goes on for about 10 minutes before he even gets in the armor. I was like, please say that this entire fight isn't just going to be him in a suit, and they've kind of like modernized the character. Like, you've got to have Ares looking like Ares, and thankfully they do that, so I was happy about that. Yeah. But you get, again, it goes back to like that cheesy kind of Saturday morning cartoon, the dialogue that Ares is like saying to Wonder Woman. He's like, join me and together we can. It's so just like old school comic booky, and I loved it. It didn't feel tonally inconsistent with anything else. It had that element of cheese to it. But again, you're kind of wrapped up in that moment. And I think why I liked this end action scene more, say, than the Zod fight, for example, or Doomsday, or Enchantress from Suicide Squad, is because it was still, you had the spectacle of it, but it was still tethered to character. And I think that that romantic element of Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor helped carry the action scene throughout that.
I also really liked in this scene that there was kind of, there was kind of like a potential, even though, she wasn't really going to become evil, but there was kind of like a chance that she could, like, you could kind of see her, like, maybe, like, turning to the dark side or whatever. I don't know, I like that. And then, just her, like, throughout the fight, like, realizing, okay, that's my brother, then the power, she's like, okay, I'm Zeus's daughter, and then she's like looking at herself with like the lightning, like, oh, okay, I can manipulate this. This is pretty cool. And so I thought that, I thought that fight had, I don't know, for me, like substance. I don't know, is that weird?
Yeah.
Because there's all these things happening. She's like struggling with like her freaking love dying. She's struggling with like, turning to the dark side or not. And then, realizing, okay, it's my brother. It's like so much going on in her head. And I thought, first of all, that shot where she's like, oh, she like breaks free, and she's like, I love that shot. It's great. It looks like it's from the comics. And then when she's just going through like all the guys, boom, 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 like, oh, I thought that was awesome too.
You need like a combo counter in the bottom corner, as she's just like wasted all these guys.
Yeah. I think that's it for that scene.
I think the only bit that kind of caught me off guard is that, and so many films do this. I mean, Star Wars: Phantom Menace at the ending. I think both Avengers movies, kind of once you take out the big bad, all the kind of henchmen just go like, what was that? Like, they completely, there's no one else to fight. Like, the soldiers, that they're all like, what's the point now? And, oh, we're good guys, and they're all shaking hands with everyone.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Is that okay?
I said that in my I think in the spoiler review that kind of reminded me of like a Disney movie or something. Like what movie? I think maybe like, I don't know, maybe it kind of reminded me of both like Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast, like at the end. Like, because Beauty and the Beast
transform back.
Yeah, and they transform back in a way, but they transform back from like bad guys to good guys. Like, oh, we're good again. I was like, really?
What this movie needed was like a sweet Alan Menken soundtrack for the ending. That's what this film needed. I'd have been fine with that.
Exactly. I'll make an edit of that.
Oh, please do. I'll send that to me as soon as you do that. And then the last scene of the film is really just, it goes back to the present day where she looks at the picture. Again, I kind of wish it wasn't there and they just kept it as a standalone movie, but it's fine. And then you get the Wonder Woman hype scene where she's on the building. And I was talking with the guys yesterday, and they said that because they teased Bruce Wayne throughout the whole movie, they thought the end shot was going to be her on the building, and then into the shot was going to Batman was going to step forward, and the two of them were going to jump up. I'm glad they didn't have Batman in it, though, because I think the focus would have been taken off Wonder Woman in that scene, because everyone would be like, oh my God, Batman, and then just go over to him. It's kind of a weird last shot, though, because she kind of just jumps into Paris. Like, is she going to fight the crime in Paris for a while? Is that what she's going to do now?
I think so.
But I like, but I like superhero films when they do this. I mean, I'm thinking of like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, how they all end with like a huge heroic swinging through the city with Spider-Man. You've got the original Superman movie where he smiles at the camera and flies past in space. You want to leave the audience with that, like awesome feeling when it hits the end scene, and this movie did that absolutely. And then I think it cuts to the sweet Wonder Woman theme in the credits.
I agree. Even though I like Batman, I agree that I'm glad that he wasn't in there, because I do think it would have taken, attention away. I'm glad his presence there was just through email.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great shot, like just her, yeah, she's going and fighting crime and bringing justice. It's awesome. It's just a very powerful way, I think, to end the movie, especially for a lot of the girls, young girls watching this movie. It's like, yeah, I want to go fight crime now. I want to go be good and help people. That's awesome. So,
and it's nice that DC have finally got a movie like this under their belt where kids can see it, because, I mean, I'm of the belief if a kid wants to see a movie, just show them the movie. That's completely fine. I mean, I did that growing up, but with Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, it's so like heavy going and dark and brooding that I don't think kids would. I mean, I'm sure some kids do enjoy it, but it doesn't seem as easily accessible. Whereas I think so far in all of the DCU films that we've had so far, this is the most easily accessible for not just adults, teenagers, but also kids as well. It's nice to see that kids are having that role model figure with the character of Wonder Woman, whether they're male or female, which is great. Even though I did bring up this as a point as well, that for example, Superman and Batman in this universe have killed people. They quite outright kill people all the way through those films. But I didn't have a problem with Wonder Woman killing people in this film for some reason. I don't know if it's because I always think that Batman and Superman should be like, never kill anyone. There's always a way around it. I'm going to find a way. I'm not going to kill this bad guy. Always going to find another way. But for me, with Wonder Woman in this, that she did spare Dr. Poison at the end, for example. So I like that she's picking and choosing who she kills because it's for a greater cause. It's for the greater good. And it never got like wildly distracting in this film where she's causing massive collateral damage or anything, or killing millions of people in the background while she's kicking ass. There was none of that, and I think that's why I appreciated this film a lot more. It just felt a lot more focused for me personally than the other movies.
I think after what happened in Man of Steel, they're probably a lot more careful now with collateral damage, because although I did like Man of Steel, that's one thing that bothered me about it. At the end, I'm just like, oh my god, so much destruction, and like, how many people are you killing right now? Like, what the heck? So I think after that, they're like, okay, we're gonna have all our big scenes where there's not a lot of innocent people. It's empty. If there is collateral damage, it's bad guys and stuff. So I think they're probably a little bit more careful now.
I love how Batman v Superman did that as well. They must have said about like 3 or 4 times, like, are you sure it's abandoned? Yes, it's an abandoned island in between Gotham and Metropolis. It's like, okay, movie, I get it. Okay, there's no people around. That's fine.
Yeah. Let's see if there are. I'm sorry, guys. I can't read every single comment because there's a lot. So, but if there's any questions that relate, we can answer. I'll do it. I'll bring it up and stuff. But yeah, somebody said clay, not wax, so it's clay. Because I think you said wax a few times.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's okay though. It's okay. We forgive you. And then
I'm
said,
still a noob to Wonder Woman. So.
Versus Z2 said, I loved how naive she was the whole time. She made me want to pinch her cheeks at her reactions. Oh yeah. Every time I'm like, she's so cute. I wanted to hug her. And Culture Freak said this movie had very likable, fun characters. That's true. Yeah, I like all the characters pretty much. I mean, the villains, it's not like I really hated the villains. I just didn't think,
no.
Much of them. But pretty much everyone else I loved.
I think with superhero films, it's really difficult. I mean, the good ones do it perfectly, but it's really difficult to balance out both the hero and the villain equally. Either it tends to go one way. If you look at, for example, Tim Burton's Batman, even you could argue The Dark Knight in some way, it's very much focused on the villain. Like, you remember Jack Nicholson Joker. I think he's top billed in that film. You remember Heath Ledger Joker more so than Batman, perhaps. Or the other way, you either have a great superhero film where it focuses on them and then the villain's kind of thrown to the wayside. That's like in a lot of Marvel movies. But no, I didn't have a problem with the villain in this film. But if you are looking for an element that's probably the weakest in a great film, I would go with Ares in this. But
I did like the look of Ares in the movie.
Yes, yeah.
And Zero Cool said, we had a lady who kept talking throughout the movie, and the management got upset and asked her to leave and restarted the movie and gave us free fresh drinks.
Wow.
That's a good manager. I'm glad she got kicked out. Because I almost, there was one person in the third viewing too, and mine that was also talking, and I heard people like shush her, and I was getting mad too. I'm like, you better not freaking ruin this movie for me. And I guess they got her to quiet down early on, but so annoying. Why are you going to go watch a movie if you're going to talk about it?
That's
Seriously.
what I was just going to say. Why the hell would you go to a movie theater if you
and pay money to not watch the movie?
And I mean, movie tickets are expensive nowadays. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Zero Cool, who has a prettier smile. Itzmoe or Gal? Gal. Okay, I love Gal. Chris does. You do, Chris. You have a prettier smile. Let's see. Oh,
you made me blush now on camera.
Okay, too many comments. Okay, Zero Cool. Well, to be fair, Anne Hathaway's Catwoman wasn't that difficult since Dark Knight Rises was a train wreck. Sean Connery.
Oh my god. Thank you. Someone agrees with me. You don't know how long I've been in the minority with that film. I cannot stand Dark Knight Rises. I love Begins and Dark Knight. Some of the best Batman films ever made. Dark Knight Rises was one of the most just gutting experiences I've ever had at the movie theater. Just like, yeah. It's like Batman never quits. He wouldn't just go to Italy with Selena Kyle and just give up being Batman. That's not the Batman I know. That's a review for a different time. Sorry, Batman's my boy. Batman's my thing, you see.
Yeah. So. No, yeah, he's one of my favorites too. But that's probably of the trilogy, that's probably my least favorite one.
Yeah.
So I've watched Batman Begins a lot, Dark Knight a lot. Dark Knight Rises is the one I've probably watched. Maybe I've only watched it, I think, 2 or 3 times, and that's how I can gauge. Okay, if I've seen the movie 20 times, it's obviously one of my favorite ones. That one I have not seen that much because I didn't really want to. And then, okay, Zero Cool. Henry Cavill pukes. Excuse me. Okay, someone's jealous. I mean, if you say he's an ugly guy, you are blind. I'm sorry. He is not. You cannot call him gross. Okay. Zero Cool. He also said best costume redesign ever. Yeah. I don't know if it's the best one, but it's pretty good. I like it.
I like it a lot better than the one from BVS, because BVS, again, it was like, let's sap every bit of color we can out of this movie. And it's kind of like, a lot of people compared it to Xena, didn't they? I think like Xena Warrior Princess, how it's just kind of like the brown leather look, which was fine. But I'm glad that we actually have, the red, white, and blue.
Blackwing 2040 said it was sad when Steve died, and the dance was such a beautiful scene. Yes, it was. So pretty. I'm so glad they had that in there, because that's maybe something that maybe they could have cut out. It's just kind of because it's not very long, but it's just like I love the little moments. I think they add a lot to the film.
Well, they all add up, don't they? Once you watch the entire film, which is nice.
Oh, the culture freak. Okay, so we'll both answer this. Who was your favorite character besides Wonder Woman? So you go first.
Oh, is it a cop out if I say Steve Trevor, because he probably was. I've got to say Steve Trevor, haven't I? I think he was one of the most developed characters there. If I'm going to say anyone other than Steve Trevor, it was the guy with the fez, which says a lot when he's.
Sammy's his name. Now somebody wrote it Sammy. That's his name.
Oh, Sammy. Yeah, I was going to say if he's my favorite character, I can't even remember the guy's name. That's not very good, is it? But yeah, Sammy. Steve Trevor would be my favorite character, but if I'm going to go with someone else, it would be Sammy.
Yeah, I agree. Mine would be the same answer, Steve Trevor, and if I can't say Steve Trevor, then Sammy. So there you go.
God, we're so boring, aren't we, with our choices? I'm sorry.
I think out of the 3 friends of Steve's friends, he probably had the most lines, I think, too. So we kind of got to and he had some funny lines too. So made him very appealing. Oh, and then Zero Cool said it was done tastefully, which I assume you're talking about the sex scene or
that scene.
That scene. Blackwing 2040. I don't think we'll be getting an extended cut for this. Yeah, I think I heard Patty Jenkins said that that's her edit. That's the director's cut. So I think it's pretty cool that Warner Brothers let her release what she wanted, which I think they should have done for the other movies too.
Absolutely.
Just you need to trust your directors. Why are you hiring directors and you're not going to trust their vision? Because I did like the although I'm one of those people that did like the original BBS, I like the extended cut so much better when I watch it. I watch the extended one, even though it's 3 hours long, but I think it's just so much better because it has a lot more Superman and Lois, and it has it just has a lot more information that I think should have been
Yeah.
in the original movie, and things make a little bit more sense. So I was just kind of disappointed, Warner Brothers. Like, why didn't you let Zach release this one? It was so much better.
So I still can't get over with that film how they cut a scene out of a Superman movie where Superman saves people.
I know. Oh my god!
What the hell? Priorities?
When I saw that in the extended edition, I was like, "What? Why did you cut this out? That is so stupid."
I was like, "Oh, please leave Granny's peach tea in there," but cut out all scenes where Superman saves people.
Yeah, because when people watch the original, they're like, "Oh, Superman's such a douche. He didn't like help people." I'm like, "Yes, he was. He was helping people," and they totally cut that out of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then they actually showed him like going and doing some investigative journalism in Gotham, and that wasn't really in the original. I'm like, what? Oh. I was getting so mad. Like, I was happy it was better, but then mad at the same time. Like, why did you cut this? Why did you cut this? Why? Whoever made these decisions, producer, I don't know, some executive here.
I think it was the studio. I think they cut the time down because if you've got a longer film, you can't have as many screenings during the day. So they cut it down so they could get more out of it, so they could get more money. And it kind of, I mean, it still made a profit, don't get me wrong, but it didn't make as much as they hoped it would with a title like Batman v Superman. So they jeopardized their own product with that one. So.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think if they would have just released a better, longer movie in the first place, they would have still made the money because the word of mouth would have been better. Let's see. Blackwing, if we get a sequel, I want Cheetah to be in it. Yeah, I think that's probably going to happen because she's one of her biggest villains.
Well, I was reading a bit about the pre-production on this first movie, and the two villains were going to be Ares and Cersei. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And it was going to be Eva Green was going to be cast as Cersei, I think. And then I think they went with Dr. Poison, and I don't know if they were going to cast her as Dr. Poison as well, and then that fell through. So, I mean, I don't know who Cersei is at all. The only Cersei I know is a character in Game of Thrones, which is a completely different character. So, again, though, the sequel is going to be set in modern day, so I don't know if that's going to have some impact on which villain they go with.
Oh, okay. I wonder if if they're going to have any Justice League people show up in that one. Something I joked about because I like the Flash and I really love Ezra Miller. Just as a joke, I didn't actually want this to happen because I felt like it would have taken attention away from Wonder Woman. But since he kind of showed up in BVS, then he showed up in Suicide Squad. I'm like, okay, he has to show up in Wonder Woman because he's like making all these random appearances in all the movies. So I was like, just put Ezra in Wonder Woman, but it wouldn't really make sense. It would be really weird, so it's better that he wasn't in there. But as a joke, I'm like, just put him in there.
I don't think it would have been as weird as the dream sequence from Batman v Superman, where the Flash hasn't even been established as a character yet, and then he's showing up saying, "Lois Lane's the key to all this."
Yeah, I thought when I first saw that, I was like, people who aren't comic fans are probably like, what the heck is going on? Like, I got excited because I like the Flash and Ezra. So I was like, yeah, awesome. But everyone else was like, who is this guy? What is he saying? I mean, I couldn't even understand. I had to watch it like 2 or 3 times before I could piece together what he was saying because it was hard to understand the first time. I couldn't get everything. So I was just like, okay, I'm someone who's a fan of this character. It took me a while. Someone who isn't and familiar with them, they're probably like so confused right now. So
it was like, am I too soon? I'm like, yeah, you're a few years too soon, I think. I think your movie's not out until like 2019.
I hope we do, I hope in Justice League we find out what he meant by that when he was like, Lois is a key. Hopefully that's not just like there for no reason, but I think we will, hopefully. And Justice League we'll find out what he meant.
And he kind of looked like a Red Power Ranger as well in that weird dream sequence. Yeah. He didn't really look like the Flash that he does now with the costume. I don't think they got the costume completely to their specification.
It looked like the costume was like falling apart or something. Yeah. You could see kind of his face. So I don't know if he just came out of a battle or it was during a battle. But yeah. Let's see. Zero Cool said, nope, Steve is still alive, but this is a cinematic universe, so you are allowed to have these differences.
Is this going to be like the end of Dark Knight Rises, where we're going to learn that autopilot was triggered and he's safe somewhere again in an Italian cafe?
I think Diana would be pretty upset. Like, hello, you went with someone else?
Because maybe he got with Dr. Poison. There was kind of a thing there with Dr. Poison. She survived.
I would be so mad. I would be mad for Diana. And then she's like, yeah, she does that. She's like so mad. She's like, oh, okay, I'll join the dark side now because Steve betrayed me.
Maybe that will be a lead up to Flashpoint. That will show her why she wants to take over the universe and kill all humans, because now she doesn't trust humans because Steve Rogers ran off with a villain.
Or Steve Trevor. Steve Rogers.
I knew I was going to do it at some point. I was doing so well up until this point.
There's something going on with Steve's being played by Chris's who die in planes. So I don't know. Maybe that's gonna be a trend now. But did you see Chris Pine sing the Chris song on SNL?
No, I haven't seen that.
You should watch it. It's really funny because he talks about being confused with Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and another Chris. I forgot which other one. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not that Chris. I'm this Chris. And he actually, like, somebody, I don't know, I was watching some Q&A. I forgot where I saw it, but somebody asked Chris about that song, and he said it was his idea to do it as a skit on SNL. Like, it wasn't the writers, and the reason he wanted to do that song is because it happens to him. Like, people confuse him for the other Chris's, which is pretty funny.
Luckily, there aren't many other Chris's in my friendship group, so I don't have that problem.
Oh yeah, and your name is Chris too. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'll send you the link to that.
Yeah, you'll send it me after this. That's
cool. Really funny. And Christian Disciple said Casablanca was where that last scene with Steve and Diana comes from. Yeah, Patty Jenkins at the Q&A I went to, she said Casablanca was one of the influences in the film, so that makes sense. And then Indiana Jones 2 for Steve, which is awesome because Indiana Jones, that's a good trilogy. I like it.
I like how you say trilogy as well, because the fourth one never happened.
Yeah, I haven't seen it because I didn't want to.
Please don't do that to yourself. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Do not watch King with the Crystal Skull.
Zero Cool said, you know what would have been great when she's bouncing the bullets off the shield if she said, those are the biggest, slowest bullets I've ever seen. That Wonder Woman was always a better match for Batman romantically than Super Doof. Oh my gosh, you really hate Superman. Well, I mean, Superman has Lois Lane, so I know in the comics, there is, I think in the New 52, Lois basically doesn't exist, so it's like Wonder Woman and Superman are in a relationship, but his true love is Lois.
She likes the brooding type, so you gotta get with Bruce Wayne.
It's interesting too because she's kind of the opposite of that. So she's probably like, I can change it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I can give him hope. But I like that in the cartoon. Did you see that in the cartoon? When there was like that Diana and Bruce thing going on. Did you ever watch that?
I've never watched. This is the Justice League cartoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've never actually. I need to because I'm actually trying to work up into order. So I've seen Batman the Animated Series. I'm halfway through Superman the Animated Series, and then I want to get to Justice League. I haven't watched it yet, but I have watched like compilations on YouTube, for example, like best bits or best Wonder Woman bits. So I've seen elements of that, but I'm sure it's even more in the actual
so cute show. Like, she can actually make Bruce smile. I think it's so adorable. Did you see the clip where he sings for her? Where she like becomes like a pig or something? Yeah.
And now I really want to.
Yeah, just look up Batman sings for Wonder Woman or something. It's so cute. Oh my gosh.
Is it Kevin Conroy? Is it Kevin Conroy Batman?
I think it's Kevin Conroy plays him in that series.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's so cute. It's Chris Jam with an M. Disciple said, my favorite character is Robin Wright's Antiope. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's too bad we don't get to see a lot of her because she was so awesome. And I really liked her mom too. But I think you said you looked it up on IMDb. She might be in Justice League.
Yeah, I think this is IMDb. I think she's second build so far in that Queen Hippolyta's coming back.
That's awesome.
So I don't know whether, I'm assuming she's going to have to head back to Themyscira then at some point, because we were talking last night, we didn't know, because they never really say it in the review, does she have the power to return to Themyscira whenever she wants to? Or now that she's in the real world, is that kind of, she can't? Because I think the army kind of looked out, didn't they, when they went through the portal into her realm. So I don't know. I'm assuming she'll have to head back at some point.
I feel like she could. I mean, don't you just have to go in that area in the ocean and just go through the fog or whatever? I mean,
I guess so, yeah.
Steve Trevor was able to go there. I think maybe I feel what she meant when she said you may never return is I thought she meant maybe like you're gonna die. So that's why you'll never come back. Not that she like physically couldn't go back. So hopefully we'll see the mascara again in Justice League. But then it'll be Zack Snyder's version, so it'll be all dark. And we're like, what the heck? No, I'm just kidding. What happened to the mascara? I'm just kidding. The media table said The Dark Knight Rises is a great film. And then Zero Cool said, are you serious? Okay, there's going.
So I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I think there are more of us out there now that don't like that movie, so... It was a very isolating experience the opening day when I saw that movie and didn't like it because everyone loved it. That's fine, man. You know, if you like the movie, that's absolutely fine. But personally, me, I don't care for it.
Zero Cool said, "Nice, Chris. LOL." Steve pulled us Jim Morrison. What does that mean? I know who Jim Morrison is, but
yeah,
what do you mean? He died at 27. What?
I
don't know. What I don't know what you mean by that.
No.
I don't think... Oh, because he died in a plane. Is that what you mean?
Oh.
Jim Morrison died in a plane crash? But a lot of, other artists died in plane crashes, too. Like John Denver.
Leonard Skinner, did they?
Big Bopper. Yeah, I think Leonard Skinner, too. So, yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird that you just talked about Jim Morrison like he's the only one. But the media table, I also like the original BBS. I just fell in love with you. Yeah, I think we're like one of 10 people who like the original one. Steve Rogers, Chris Evans, and Chris Pine. Christian Disciple, it's hilarious. They have the same height and same name in movies. Chris Pine as Captain America and Chris Evans as Captain Kirk. Oh, they both played captains too. Let's see. Okay. Diana and Kal-El are not trying to be a couple in Justice League action on Cartoon Network, and it's only 10 minutes long. What? There's a new show I didn't know about? Oh my gosh. I need to watch it now.
You're just gonna like run off the live stream now and just like immediately watch it.
But Young Justice. I'm so glad they're bringing that back.
Coming back, isn't it? Yeah. Yep.
So good. So freaking good. Oh my gosh, I cried. You watched the season 2 finale, you know why I cried. Okay.
I've already cried at a DC property today when I watched the end of Flashpoint.
Yes!
It got me.
That's why I'm more of a DC person than Marvel, because DC gets me in the heart, okay? Marvel, they're fun, but the only time I ever cried with any Marvel thing was Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I'm talking about, okay? And then Quicksilver in the Avengers. That's pretty much the only time I've cried. DC makes me cry with their comic books, their shows, their movies, you know, animated and live action. So they're my heart. Okay.
For me, it's X-Men. X-Men gets me. It depends which X-Men movie though, because there's a lot of bad X-Men movies. But Days of Future Past, the ending to that was more nostalgia, I guess. Logan. Oh my God, Logan.
Oh, I need to see that one. I haven't seen it. Ooh.
Oh, that's an emotionally draining experience. It's a very sad and depressing film at the end.
I feel like I probably will cry since everyone else I know that saw it cried. Yeah. So like, if you cried, I'm definitely gonna cry. So,
and also the Daredevil Netflix series, which is probably one of the best comic book depictions of a character I've ever seen.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's because Batman's like my favorite character in fictional history, and Daredevil is kind of like the Marvel equivalent of Batman, so that's why I like those two.
Okay. Christian Disciple said, I guess about Justice League, it may be an earlier story where we see Hippolyta when they're fighting off Doomsday. I don't know why Hippolyta would be there. She's just like watching. She's like, good Diana, good job. Good job fighting Doomsday. She's like, I'm not even gonna help you. I know you can do it. Christian also said, I didn't really like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises, so you got company, Chris. The Dark Knight was good because of Heath Ledger. Wait, Chris said he did like Batman Begins.
I love Batman Begins. Batman Begins is my favorite one of that trilogy because that one, to me, is the one that's inherently the story that's focused on Batman.
Okay.
I can understand why some people don't like it though, because I would say it is very much a slow burn film.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, Batman Begins is my favorite. Dark Knight is great, but I think that the focus in that movie is definitely on the Joker. And yeah, I've said my piece on Dark Knight Rises. So.
And if you would love Batman Begins, like I did, made a whole music video, you guys should check it out. I'll post the link in the comments because I combined two of my favorite things, which was Batman and the band Muse, which Muse is my favorite band. So I made a music video about Batman Begins.
Oh, nice.
And I used I used this Muse song called Butterflies and Hurricanes because every time I heard that song, the lyrics reminded me of Batman's story from Batman Begins. So I'm like, I need to make a music video. So I used clips of Batman Begins and I made it. And a lot of people like it. A lot of people who have seen the music video like it. So I put a link there. So check it out. You like Batman
you have
Begins?
to send me a link to it.
Yeah. Let's see. Other questions. Okay. Try to not to keep you here too long. I think we're almost at the end. Christian said DC has a lot of drama, but Marvel not so much. But yes, Logan is awesome and is a drama action film. Logan, the media table said Logan will still be the best superhero film by the end of the year. Just putting that out there. And oh yeah, and then Zero Cool, he said that episode that I was telling you about where Batman sings to Wonder Woman, he said, yep, that was Justice League and it's Kevin Conroy and it's Justice League Unlimited. It's called This Little Piggy. That's what the episode is called. But
Kevin Conroy and his sultry voice.
Yeah.
Wooing Wonder Woman.
So I think that's about it for the comments. If there's anything else you want to say before we go?
You put me on the spot now. I don't know. I think we've been very thorough with this review and the questions.
Subscribe to Chris. Cinema Savvy, awesome reactions, reviews, very awesome people on that channel. So if you love movies.
Yeah, absolutely. As you just said, we bring out a new movie review every week. Trailer reactions has been quite a lot recently, so I have to try and keep on top of them. Loads of new shows coming out, so pretty much just search Cinema Savvy up on YouTube. On Twitter, it's cinema_savvy. Facebook, you'll find us at Cinema Savvy. So yeah, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Awesome. And anyone who has not watched the Flashpoint Paradox animated film, watch it. It is probably I don't know, it's kind of a tie of the animated film. My two favorites are two favorites are Flashpoint Paradox and Under the Red Hood.
Under the Red Hood's fantastic.
I love those. Movie. So watch both of them. And the comics themselves are also really good too. So watch them. And thank you, Chris, for joining me. And
no problem. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, everyone who commented and who's going to watch later on. Awesome. Love you guys. And we'll talk to you guys later.
See you guys.